Today we will explore an introduction to research data management. I'm Tanya Wynn, your library assistant and repository support. Glad to have you here. Okay, so today we're diving into the essentials of research data management, or RDM. First, let's touch on what RDM is. It's an approach to managing data that ensures it's organized, accessible, and secure throughout the research lifecycle. Now, why is this important? Well, emerging requirements for RDM are shaping how research is conducted and shared. Funding bodies and institutions are increasingly mandating robust data management practices. Lastly, we'll discuss data management planning, a crucial step for any researcher. This involves outlining how you'll handle your data from the start to the end of your project. As we move forward, think about how these elements apply to your research. And I forgot to mention that this webinar is being recorded, so we will post the recording to the AU Library YouTube channel. So we have a research activity. So let's take a moment to explore the research context we're working with. So I'd love for you to share your research context in the chat. It's a great way to learn from each other. So does your program include a research component, like a project, thesis, or dissertation? Also think about your research topic and any methods you've decided on. And finally, what tools are you using to plan your research and manage your data? So I'll give you just a minute or two to think about that, and you can type it in the chat if you. Okay, let's move forward. So let's get started on understanding how research data management can enhance the quality and the integrity of our research projects. So research data management, often referred as RDM, is crucial for success and integrity for any research project. So it involves planning and executing how you handle your data from the very beginning until the end of your project. This includes data collection, analysis, and ultimately storing or preserving your data for the long term. Think of RDM as the backbone of your research process. It ensures that your data is organized, accessible, and secure. So by managing your data effectively, you're not only facilitating your current research, but also paving the way for future projects and collaborations. Okay, so let's dive into the research data lifecycle, which is crucial for effective data management. So this life cycle outlines the stages your data goes through in a research project. So first, we have the planning stage. So this is where the research proposals and funding applications are crafted. It's vital to outline how you'll manage your data. Next, we have the create and collect phase. So the focus here is on where your data will be stored, thinking about secure and accessible locations. Moving forward, we have the process and analysis. So these stages are where the raw data gets refined and interpreted. So once your data is ready, it's time to disseminate it, sharing findings with the wider community if applicable for your project. And finally, the preserve and reuse stages. Ensure your data is stored for the long term and can be accessed for the future. So consider how and where you'll deposit your data for reuse. And again, only if it's applicable to your research. So moving on, we will discuss about a few different RDM principles that are well known to the community. The first of which is the FAIR principles, and they are central to effective research data management. And they stand for findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. So let's break this down a little bit. So findable means your data should be easy for others to locate, and that could be placing the final data sets in a public repository. Accessible ensures that data can be obtained by authorized users. And interoperable is the compatibility with other data sets. And reusable means others can use your data effectively. So the mantra here is as open as possible, as closed as necessary. So this reflects the balance between sharing data widely and protecting sensitive data. It's a guiding principle to maintain both accessibility and privacy. So this framework is not just a set of rules, it's a way to ensure your research is valuable and usable for the long term. It's about creating data that can serve the research community well into the future. So now we're moving on to two important frameworks in research data management, the CARE and the OCAP principles. So these principles are crucial for ensuring ethical and responsible data governance, especially when working with Indigenous data. So let's talk about the CARE principles. CARE stands for collective benefit, authority to control, responsibility, and ethics. These principles emphasize the need for data practices that support community well-being and respect Indigenous governance. Next, we have OCAP principles, which stand for ownership, control, access, and possession. These principles were put forth by the Global Indigenous Data Alliance and the First Nations Information Governance Center, which is in Canada, and highlight the rights of Indigenous peoples to manage and protect their data. By understanding and applying both CARE and OCAP principles, we can ensure that our data management practices are not only effective, but also equitable and respectful. So remember, these frameworks are about balancing open science with the rights and interests of Indigenous communities. So let's talk about some of the benefits and advantages of RDM. So first, RDM contributes to operational efficiency and organization. So adopting standardization and maintaining reference documents, we're ensuring smooth transitions and long-term clarity in our research processes, especially when we are collaborating with other team members in our research team. So this structure is crucial for staying organized and efficient. We'll touch upon DMP's data management plans and how these can be shared with members of your team to get a high overview of the data that's being collected, organized, stored, and preserved. Secondly, we have the aspect of visibility and impact. With RDM, our research gains increased recognition. So by using formal citations and contributions to open scholarship, we elevate our work's visibility and impact in the academic and research communities. Later on, we will talk about data availability statements, which will point people how to access your data and where it's deposited using a digital object identifier or DOI. And thirdly, let's consider integrity and compliance. So research data management supports likability and compliance with policies. It ensures that our stewardship of data is responsible and ethical, aligning with necessary regulations. Okay, so I'll just wrap this section with some key tools and resources, and this information is in the handout in the GitHub site. So these are some tools that can support your research data management journey. So we have our library guide on RDM, and it's a fantastic starting point that offers comprehensive resources tailored to various stages of the research process. We also have a professional development course on RDM, and it's available through PowerEd, and it's for free. It may ask you to pay $125, but that fee can be waived using this access code, research free. And next, when incorporating fair, care, and OCAP principles to your practices, you can find the links here. And as mentioned, these frameworks will not only enhance the integrity and compliance of your data, but also ensure that your work is ethically aligned with the community values. Okay. So now we're going to switch gears and talk about emerging requirements for research data management. And it's important to recognize the key players involved. So we have funders, publishers, and institutions. So each of these stakeholders is shaping the landscape of RDM with their own set of requirements. First, let's consider why these requirements are emerging now. With the increasing emphasis on transparency and accessibility in research, there's a growing need for structured and compliant data management practices. So funders, they're looking for assurance that the research they support is managed responsibly. And similarly, publishers are advocating for data transparency to uphold the integrity of the published research. Institutions, on the other hand, are focusing on establishing robust frameworks to support researchers in meeting these demands, so such as post-secondary schools. So think about how these requirements might impact your own research or the research within your organization. How might they drive innovation or change the way we approach research data? So we're going to look at one example of a funding agency. So the tri-agency RDM policy is a significant development in research data management. It was released in 2021 of March, and this policy introduces several key requirements that are phased in, and we'll break these down. So firstly, for institutions, there's a mandate to develop an institutional strategy by March 2023. So this is a major step to ensure that our data management practices are robust and aligned with broader standards. So at Athabasca University, we do have a strategy to meet this requirement. For researchers, the focus is on data management plans. So these are being piloted on certain calls, which means they're testing the waters to refine and improve the process. It's crucial for researchers to start getting familiar with creating a data management plan, as they will soon become a standard part of research proposals. And lastly, while the specifics of data deposit requirements are still being determined, it's important to stay informed and prepared for coming changes. So these steps are part of a larger movement to enhance transparency and accessibility in research, setting a standard that benefits both the academic community and the public. Okay, and I see a question in the chat. I'll try to get back to this at the end of the webinar. Thank you for your question. Okay. Okay, so now we talked about an example of funder agency that has RDM requirements. Let's look at publishers' requirements and recommendations regarding data management. So for publishers, they now often require a formal statement in your manuscript, and the statement must explain where your data is stored and any specific conditions for accessing it. It's all about transparency and accessibility. So a key aspect is the use of a persistent identification, such as a DOI. And this is crucial because it provides a permanent and unique web link to your dataset. So even if the repository where you deposited the final datasets of your research, changes, that DOI that points to your data remains accessible. So this is about maintaining the integrity and the availability of your research data. And lastly, let's talk about open access. So many publishers prefer or even mandate that your data supporting your study should be openly available. So you might use a template like this that reads, the data that support the findings of the study are openly available at the Athabasca University data repository at such DOI link. So this aligns with the growing trend towards open science. And excuse me. So many major publishers such as Taylor Francis, Springer Nature give us a helping hand by offering templates and guidance for writing these data availability statements. This is really useful because it ensures the consistency and clarity in how we share our data. And here's another example of how you would have a data availability statement. So the data deposited into the gene expression omnibus database is under the session number such and such and are available at the following URL. So as we move forward, remember that these statements are a key part of responsible data management. They allow other researchers to verify your findings and build upon your work, fostering a more collaborative and open scientific community. So again, going back to the handout that's available on the GitHub page, we have links to the tri-agency, which include the Canadian Institutes Health Research, Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council, and the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council. And they provide significant support and resources for data management and sharing. So their guidelines are crucial for aligning our practices with national standards. We also have links in the handout for publisher data availability statements and data sharing protocols. Excuse me. These aren't just bureaucratic hurdles, they're valuable tools that facilitate transparency and reproducibility in research. So embracing these resources can enhance the credibility and reach of your work. Okay, so now switching gears, we're going to talk about the data management plans. And there's several key aspects to focus on. So think of a data management plan as a living document. So this means it's continuously evolving as your project progresses. Remember that a well-structured data management plan outlines how the data will be stored, collected, documented. And it's crucial to consider these elements early in your project to ensure data integrity and accessibility. Lastly, We have tools available to assist you. The DMP Assistant is a valuable free resource that provides templates to guide you through the process. So this tool can help you address essential questions about your data management practices. So we'll go over this tool next week at the same time. And I will potentially record that too if you're not able to make it. And the recordings will be posted on the library's YouTube channel. So these considerations are integral and effective to data management and set the stage for a deeper dive into RDM. So, like I mentioned, a data management plan is a living document, and it's continuously updated to reflect how you're handling your data throughout your research. So think of your project as a roadmap to data handling. Now, to make creating a data management plan more manageable, we have the DMP Assistant, as I mentioned earlier. And then this free national tool provides templates to guide you. The templates have these crucial questions about data collection, documentation, and storage. And using the templates not only ensures you comply with best practices, but also streamlines the research process. So a well-prepared DMP is key to successful data management. So now we're going to talk about the ethical dimensions of research data management and how it ties to the data management plan. So it's crucial to integrate your DMP with the latest TCPS2. That's the Tri-Council policy statement that was released in 2022. So this ensures that your research aligns with ethical standards. One of the key elements in this policy was about consent, so obtaining consent for reuse. Always remember that a participant consent is essential if you plan to use your data beyond the current project. So broad consent is also noteworthy, and this was updated in that TCPS2, and it includes sections on long-term storage of data intended for future unspecified research. So it's a forward-thinking approach that allows more flexibility in research opportunities. Okay, so lastly, ensure that your project's data handling processes, such as storage and security, are aligned with your ethics application and then also mirrored in your DMP. So these considerations are integral to maintaining ethical integrity in your research and sets the stage for more discussions on tools and resources. So we talked about data management plans and how it's important to integrate the ethical sides of it into your research data management. So let's talk about some resources and tools that support you in maintaining ethical conduct, especially if you're working with humans in your research. So the ethical conduct for research involving humans is outlined by the TCPS2. And this guideline is crucial for ensuring your research aligns with the ethical standards, especially as they evolve. Another tool is from Portage Sensitive Data Tools. And these are designed to help you manage and secure sensitive data while complying with ethical requirements and protecting participant privacy. So as you apply these tools, consider how they might enhance not only the ethical integrity of your project, but also the quality and trustworthiness. So how might these resources change the way you approach data management in your research? Now we're going to talk about data documentation, which is a part of the research data lifecycle we saw earlier. First and foremost, when you're doing your documentation, it's a good practice to have a README file at the top level of your folder, so in your directory. So this file should explain your project and the naming conventions you're using as you're naming your files and you're naming your folders. So think of it as a project's introduction. And there's an example from Further, a README template. Additionally, using data dictionaries and code books are crucial for defining variables in your data set. And this can be used to, for example, if you have survey data and you have a number of columns that use different acronyms, these tools like the data dictionary would explain what the different columns represent and what units are in each of the columns, like if you're using centimeters, meters, what kind of time measurements, etc. And so by defining your variables in your data sets, it ensures anyone reviewing your work understands the context. And again, if you're looking for a template to get started, the Further Research Data Repository, the Federated Research Data Repository provides a README template, and it's a helpful resource to ensure your documentation is clear and comprehensive. Okay, so let's talk about the significance of using descriptive and consistent file names. So for example, we have this file name 2025-08-02 ADSM survey v2.csv. Is not just only organized, but also informative. So it tells us the date, the project acronym, the document type, and the version, so making it easy to track. Next, we want to use underscores and camel case instead of spaces or special characters in our file names. So this practice enhances compatibility across different softwares and platforms, ensuring seamless file sharing and management. Lastly, I encourage you to check out the file naming and organization worksheet. The link should also be in the handout. This provides detailed guidelines and tips, and it's a practical resource that can help you refine and standardize how you're doing your file naming and folder structures. So again, consistent file naming makes everyone's jobs easier and keeps our data organized and accessible. So on this slide, we're diving into the various types of documentations out there that are crucial for maintaining the integrity and the usability of your data. So let's talk about data dictionaries and code books. As I mentioned earlier, these are essential in defining your variables and ensuring that anyone can understand your data set. Next up, we have survey instruments and lab notebooks. Survey instruments document the methods used in your research, while lab notebooks, be they print or electronic, record experimental details. So these are key in replicating or validating your research. So moving on to field notes and memos. These capture observations and reflections that might not be easily documented elsewhere, providing valuable context. Lastly, let's not forget about scripts, code, and documented computing environments. So these ensure that your analysis can be reproduced and that your work can be built upon by others So again, a documented README file ties everything together by offering a high-level overview of your project structure and contents. So each type of documentation on this slide plays a unique role in promoting transparency and accessibility in your research. So next slide will discuss the tools that you can use to assist you in creating effective documents. So in the handout, we have a file naming advice tool, and so this will definitely help you in developing like consistent and descriptive file naming practices, and it also enhances the organization and the retrieval of your data, right? If you can see from a high overview, how your folders and files are structured, it just makes it so much quicker to retrieve what you need, especially if someone asks you for something in your directory, you can find it easily. Say there's a request like 5 years down the road that they wanted to see one of your documents, and you can present that to them easily by retrieving it. Also, the library guide and worksheet can guide you in establishing a robust naming convention. We didn't talk about this, but the Research Data Alliance Metadata Standards Catalog is a tool that offers comprehensive guidelines for metadata standards, ensuring your data is easily discoverable and reusable. And there's links to some README templates, so that ensures that anyone accessing your data, again, can understand quickly what your research is about. So consider using these templates to maintain clarity and transparency on your documentation. Okay, so we're going to dive into the essentials of storing and depositing data, which is another life cycle in the research data life cycle. Let's focus on active storage and long-term storage. So these are both crucial components to ensuring your data's safety and accessibility over time. So active storage is about keeping your data readily available for current projects. So think of it as your digital desk space. It's organized, secure, easy to access. The long-term storage, on the other hand, is like your archive room. It's where the data goes when it's not needed immediately and must be preserved for future reference or compliance reasons. So both forms of storage play a vital role in data management strategies. And finally, we'll touch upon data deposit, which ensures your data is not only stored, but also shared and preserved in a way that aligns with institutional legal standards. And this is key for collaboration and future research. So as we move forward, remember maintaining data integrity and accessibility is at the heart of effective data management. So we're going to start with active storage. So it's crucial to utilize enterprise-reviewed cloud storage or networked drives. And these options are tailored to meet high standards and ensure reliability. So always reach out to the AUIT Research Tool Squad for tailored advice by emailing them at this email address. Yeah, and it's when you email them, it's you can mention you need assistance from the Research Tool Squad, and they will know who to direct those questions to. So remember, when using cloud services, your data might be stored on various locations worldwide. So this dispersion can influence legal jurisdictions. So it's something to keep in mind of. So continuing on with active storage, Let's focus on the 3-2-1 backup rule. So this suggests having 3 copies of your data in 2 different locations using more than one type of storage media. So this strategy is essential for safeguarding your data against unexpected losses. Let's explore the types of storage you can use. So these include network drives, cloud storage, and portable storage media types like DVDs, CDs, and USBs, and external hard drives. Additionally, your computer's hard drive can serve as one of these storage locations. Remember, diversity in storage types adds an extra layer of security. So this approach ensures that if one method fails, your data is still safe with others. Sorry, this is kind of text heavy. So as we dive into storage service provider considerations, let's look at some crucial aspects. So first, it's essential to review the terms of service and the AI policies for some of these storage service providers. So ensure that your data isn't being used for unauthorized purposes like training AI models. And this is vital for maintaining integrity and confidentiality of your research. So at AU, we have Microsoft Office tools like OneDrive and SharePoint. And from my understanding, they did a security review and they did turn off the AI training settings. So our data isn't being used by these AI training, used by these models for training purposes. So that's a great thing. So they do audit these things. Okay, so moving on to security standards. So confirm that the provider adheres to recognized standards such as the ISO 27001 or 27002. So this helps ensure your data is well protected. It's good practice to double check these standards and safeguard your information. So thirdly is data residency. So since the cloud data can be geographically distributed, it's mindful of the varying laws in different jurisdictions. So this could affect how your data is stored and accessed internationally. So for institutional support, again, the AU IT Research Squad is available for consultations. The library also is available for consultations, and I will share the slide on how to reach the library as well. But yeah, please reach out to the IT team or the library for any security and privacy reviews you might need. Lastly, if you're looking at advanced computing options, you can consider the National Storage through the Digital Research Alliance of Canada. Keep in mind, however, students will need faculty sponsorship for this. So as we wrap up this section on storage, here are some takeaways. So firstly, again, please contact AUIT as your go-to resource at the email. Just let them know that you need to contact the Research Tool Squad, and they can triage your request to the right team. Additionally, when it comes to advanced computing resources, you can get access to the Digital Research Alliance for national level storage and computing needs, as long as you have sponsorship from your faculty. Okay, let's move on. So we just talked about active storage, right? So now we're going to talk about long-term storage. So after your project, research project is complete. So long-term storage is essentially keeping a copy of your research data after your project concludes. So this is not only crucial for your own reference, but it also upholds the integrity of your findings if researchers reach out and you have your data readily available to back up your conclusions. Additionally, many funders, like the Canadian Institutes of Health Research, they mandate that the data be retained for a period of 5 to 10 years. At AU, we recommend keeping your data for 5 years. This is to ensure compliance with their policies and to maintain a standard of research accountability. Now, what exactly should you keep? So typically you want to retain the de-identified master dataset along with the documentation. So this ensures your data aligns with ethical protocols where any identifiers are responsibly destroyed. So by following these guidelines, you'll be well prepared to address future inquiries and uphold the credibility of your research. So now we're switching gears to data deposit. So we talked about active storage, long-term storage. What about depositing your data in a repository? So when we talk about data deposit, we're formally transferring your research data to a repository, but this doesn't mean all your data. This is mostly like your final outputs of your data that you're comfortable and would help others that access your data how to interpret your data. So this step is crucial for ensuring long-term stewardship and potentially making your data accessible to others. Oh, okay, that's perfect, thanks. So the main purpose here with the data deposit is to enhance the FAIR principles of your data. So remember, findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. So it's not about just storage, it's adding value to your research. So when you deposit your data, you're allowing it to be citable through a digital object identifier, which is significant benefit to your academic recognition. So repositories do more than just storing the final sets of your data. They are usually being professionally curated. So this means that your files are not only kept safe, but they're maintained in accessible formats and complete with metadata for future use. So this professional curation adds an extra layer of reliability to your research outputs. And at AU, we actually have an AU data repository, and we do use a curation service where we do review your data and documentation once you submit your data. And February 25th, I will kind of walk you through that repository. So remember, data stewardship is about ensuring your research can have a lasting impact. So the key reason, again, to deposit your data is the assurance of a safe storage and preservation. Additionally, obtaining a digital object identifier to your data set allows others to cite your work in their publications, which can amplify your research's reach and credibility. So when you deposit data, again, it's essential to include not only your data, but also the metadata and any code that supports your findings. So this comprehensive approach ensures that others can build upon your work and fostering a collaborative research environment. So by embracing this data deposit process helps to protect your research legacy while contributing to the collective scientific knowledge. But please note, like, data deposit may not be appropriate in all cases. You may be working with highly sensitive data or marginally underserved populations, and you can't just put it out there publicly, but you can perhaps have metadata available that lets people know that you've done this type of research, but you can't. They may need to they may have to go through a data access agreement to get access to your data. But yeah, that's just one thing I wanted to note. Okay, and final slide on this data deposit. There's different types of repositories. So the first one is disciplinary repositories, and it's ideal if you want your data to be highly visible in your specific field. So we have GenBank as an example. And then institutional repositories offer local solutions, such as the one at AU for its researchers. So these are perfect for storing research outputs specific to your institution. And finally, there's generalist or national repositories. So if you're dealing with medium or large data sets up to 1 terabyte, which they do provide to each researcher, and it's free, then you want to consider maybe the Federated Research Data Repository, which handles these kinds of volumes. So when choosing a repository, you can consider the disciplinary fit, whether it provides persistent identifiers, DOIs, and has a preservation policy that ensures your data is accessible and usable over time. And as a wrap up to our discussion, these are some key tools and resources. The AU Data Repository is an excellent resource for sharing your research outputs, and the Federated Research Data Repository, again, is for the medium, more larger data sets for providing for data that requires like a national scope. And I didn't talk about this, but there is a registry of data repositories, and it can help you identify types of repositories that might match your research needs. So if you're looking for a specific repository with some specific characteristics, those would be outlined through the NIH Desirable Repository link. So as you consider these options, think about how they align to your research goals and disciplinary requirements. So we have about 8 minutes left, but now that we've explored different RDM principles and emerging RDM requirements, storage options, and repository types, let's focus on your research context. Are there any tools and tips you would consider trying out? You can take a look at the handout again. And yeah, I'd like to hear if any of you have any other tips that you've come across. So I'll give you a minute or two to think about that, and you can type that in the chat. It's been beneficial. And yeah, the next 2 weeks, if you're able to attend, we can go into more depth with the data management plan and the data deposit. This was more of an overview. So yeah, let's keep going. We're almost there. So thank you for your attention today. I hope the information has been valuable to you. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask. But yeah, I'm here to provide any clarity and additional context. For those who want to follow up later, you can reach me at library@athabascau.ca. We also have the AU Library Guide RDM that contains a wealth of resources that was mentioned in this webinar. If you're from Memorial University, Alison Farrell is your go-to person to reach out. Also by that email, alisonr@mun.ca. And don't miss out on the Memorial University Library's RDM guide for more insights. As I mentioned earlier, you can always book a one-on-one appointment with the library using that QR code, and that will go to the RDM consultation booking page. But yeah, thank you once again for being an engaged audience. I have one more slide. So this week is Love Data Week. As I mentioned earlier, there's 2 more webinars. Next week, February 18th, is the data management plan, and we will go through how to create one. And it's a roadmap of how you're dealing with your data. So starting with your raw data up to the final master copy of your data. So the life cycle of your data. And February 25th, the week after, is understanding data deposit. And if we have time, I can show you what the AU data repository looks like. And we can work in the demo site where you can practice some data deposits of your final data sets that you want to share to the world. We have a data RDM community, and this one is a dedicated page to posting resources and updates about research data management across Canada. So it's a way to stay connected and informed of the latest developments. Lastly, the ICPSR offers Love Data Week and a wide range of events, so be sure to check out their calendar for more exciting sessions. So I hope these events kind of deepen your understanding of data management, and thank you all and have a happy Love Data Week.